Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm the Knight and I'm here with my third how to TPvP the basics video. This video will be about communication. Communication is very important when it comes to Team Arena. And that makes the whole thing different from solo arena, where you can't really communicate with one another. So that's why Team Arena is pretty known for its communication problem between new players, new teams as well. Um, Communication will make you stand or fall later on. So communication is really one of the most important aspects of Team Arena. Like, if you want to be good in Team Arena, but you don't really want to talk on TeamSpeak or Ventrilo or Skype, it, it doesn't really matter what program. Um, or if you want to join an English team but you can't speak English, then sorry, but then you need to find someone who can speak your language. Or if you don't really want to talk, basically all I can say is you will never get to the top hundreds, because if the whole team if one of the whole team can't communicate in the top 100, that might cause dilemmas which you might want to avoid. So first of all, about communication, what is there to communicate about in Team Arena? First of all, it's about knowing each other. Just talk with each other as much as you can, even if you're not TPvPing. It's just fun to get on TS and just get to know each other. That way, when you're playing matches together, after a while you will just be laid back and just chilled and relaxed, because you're playing with friends and people you got to know earlier on. The second thing you might want to know about communication is that it's so vital. It can either make you lose the match or win the match by one mistake. So you really need to be focused when you communicate, and really articulate very good as well. I don't suggest going into a different into a team with a different language. Like, if you're used to speak French or German, um, and you're not that good in English, I would suggest just search for either a German or French team. There are dozens of people searching for players to fill their teams up who are either French or German. So you don't need to worry about that. It's not that hard to find a team with your language, especially on your server as well. But since there's the mega server, German people are stuck with French people and Dutch people and English people in one server. So that makes it, on the other hand, harder to find any people to play with. So what you do need to know, there are some rules when it comes to Team Arena and what you communicate about and whatnot. The most important thing is, when you're playing the match, is that you actually tell your teammates how many enemies there are, where there are, and what builds they're running. So it's very essentially to know for your team that there are 3 enemies at mid and 2 at far. That means your close is fine, because after all, Team Arena is 5 versus 5. And if your whole team keeps counting 5 people, 5 enemies, and they tell you where they are at the moment and keep updating, then it's actually pretty easy for your team as well. So he knows when he can decap 4. Let's say there are 4 enemies reported on mid. 1 enemy is reported on close. You just send someone to close who can hold out a bit, and you send your thief to farm, because you've counted 5 enemies. You've counted 4 on mid, 1 on your close. That means 5. So that means there is no one on far. Far is a free cap. That's why communication is essential. A lot of people are saying you don't need TS, you can look on your minimap. That's bullshit. If enemies are not in combat, they won't show up on the minimap. That's something you need to know. They only show up if they're in combat. So if they're out of combat or in stealth, you won't see them on a minimap. So the minimap won't help you at all. And also, by the time you've looked at your minimap, you coordinated your position, then it might be too late already. So it's very important your teammates and yourself keep updating where the enemy players are. Second of all, keep telling their builds as well. So if you see a thief, you don't say just thief on far. No, you say sword dagger thief on far, or dagger pistol thief on far, or dagger thief on far. If you're seeing a mesmer, you don't go, oh, mesmer at mid. No, you say shadow mesmer at mid, glamour mesmer at mid. If you see a warrior, it's the exact thing. You say humble warrior on far, axe sword DPS warrior on far, calm the mace sword burst warrior on far. So you constantly keep saying the builds they're running and what classes they are. Because if your team knows what build, what enemy is on your close point, then your enemy knows who to send to the close point. For an example, you're not gonna send a thief to bunk an axe sword warrior. But a dagger pistol thief might be able to take down a humble warrior, but it cannot really take down an eviscerate warrior. So it's all pretty much situational. You really need to communicate a lot and communicate what's important and what not. The third thing you need to consider about communicating is your placement. You constantly need to update your situation. If you're going for close, just say so. I will go to close. If you're going for mid, you will say I will go for mid. If you have a plan like after close I will go to mid to support, just say so. Don't think your team members will know that. Just say so. Even if they know it, just say so, so all the team members in your team on the TeamSpeak knows where we're going, what you're planning. Always keep updating the situation on the map. Now the fourth thing excuse me, the fourth thing you need to know, which you might consider using as well, and it's pretty important when it comes to team fight. If you're in a team fight, let's say mid, that's the most obvious place to have a team fight. You're on mid as, let's say, a warrior, a humble, and you want to immobilize it, or you want to at least CC him. The second before you're gonna use any CC or immobilize skill, you will tell your team so. You can either also call out 5 seconds before and really command your team to focus their DPS in 5 seconds. So let me give you an example. There is a condition necro on mid, and he's the squishiest targets of all the enemies right there on mid. And you want to focus as a warrior on the condition necro, because the condition necro is almost putting down one of your engineers or elementalists, it doesn't really matter. And you really want to focus that necro down. So if you focus on the highest DPS first, they will lose their DPS and all they can do is bunk a bit, but they won't be able to kill you. And they will eventually be downed as well. So what you need to do, what I do mostly, is as a warrior I will call out my immobilize or stun and tell the team to focus up and be ready to DPS in 5 seconds. So what I do is, guys, I'm gonna immobilize in 5 seconds, and I give them 5 seconds chance to either swap weapons, to get their burst ready or whatnot. And then I set the target, and 1 second before I actually use my stun, I will call out the stun or the immobilize, and you see the whole team is focusing on the one target on mid, and the condition necro is immediately downed. So it's really important with the communication you got on TS, you need to call out your CC and immobilizes as well. You don't need to call out cripple or chill or whatever. Just call out the most important things like immobilize and CCs. The fifth thing you need to know, and that's mostly as a thief right here, if there's an ally down, we all know that in this current meta the thief is using refuge. What I need to tell you guys is, and that counts for all of you, stop using your down skills if you got an ally thief nearby, because the ally thief will put your refuge on you. But some people just don't get it. Like, even if they communicate a lot, like even in top 400 it still happens. Like, I have that problem sometimes in my team if I'm playing as thief, that people still use their down skills, and when I put the refuge on them, they still spamming the down skill, meaning they're visible again. So you really need to make sure that your team, that your downed member really gets the idea of stopping using the down skill. Because if he keeps using the down skill, he will not be only stomped, it also gets you in trouble, because it's more obvious you try to refuge and they will know you're still in the refuge, so they might AoE CC you out of the refuge and might end you up killed as well. So basically what you need to do as a thief, you just need to call out your refuge 2 seconds right before you proc it. You say to your down teammates, don't attack, I put refuge. Wait 1 second and you refuge. But you also need to make things clear. If you're on your way to support a team fight and one of the allies is already down and he's getting stomped, you need to make sure there is this rule that they never use their down skill. So you can just be on time and put a refugee on him without being in a refuge yourself, but at least he's in stealth and the allies can res him up. So communication is really important for each and every class. The same counts for mesmers. Mesmers need to communicate for their portal or their time warp or their mass invisibility. Mass invisibility is just exactly the same as the refuge of the thief. It can be used defensive to res someone, but it also can be used offensive to surprise enemy players. So those things really need to be called out. A guardian needs communication because of its shouts. Guardian needs to call out when he's gonna use his stability and when he's gonna use his Aegis, when he's gonna use his staff 4 and power for might. That's something very essential to know as a warrior or as an LA or as a thief. If you're in the team fight and you're getting 12 stacks of might, then you know you actually can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. So it's really essential. If you're the support guardian, you need to communicate in the team fights way more than anyone else. So what does a guardian exactly have to say? You will need to call out your stabilities. You will need to call out your Aegis. you will need to call out your might, your empowerment, your step 4. And the fourth and most important thing is you need to call out your safe stomps. What are safe stomps? Safe stomps are stomps when you know you got 100% chance to stomp them with the stability or with the Aegis or with the blind. Like a pistol dagger, like a dagger pistol thief has like a 95% chance of stomping when using the blinding powder on the pistol 5, except if the enemy is able to teleport once again, like another thief or a mesmer. The dagger pistol thief is quite able to do 100% safe stomps as well. But I got this rule in my team, and that is that the guardian alone makes the stomps, no one else, because there is a lot of miscommunication between new teams and mediocre teams as well, that there's one enemy down in a team fight and 3 allies are trying to stomp him. Do you see the potential here? Do you see the problem here, what I'm talking about? So you're in the mid of a team fight, let's say 4 versus 4, and one enemy got down and 2 or 3 allies of you are trying to stomp. You can imagine that it will be impossible and that your teammates who are trying to stomp will get a lot of damage onto them. So make this rule that the guardian and the warrior alone makes the stomps, no one else, except if you're on the 4 point alone as an LA. Well, if you're alone, well, depending if the enemy is on the point or not. If the enemy is not on a point, just let him bleed to death. If the enemy is on a point, then you stomp. Simple. But in a team fight, only let the warrior or guardian stomp. And if you're gonna stomp, clearly say it out loud so everyone gets it. I'm gonna safe stomp. That's really, really essential. So the other guys know they just need to cleave on the downed enemy, and so they can hit the other allies as well. They're trying to res the enemy. As an LA, the only thing you probably can communicate about in a team fight is your water fields, your fire fields, your Fury Greatsword even, or your Meteor Shower. It all depends what you seem to be important enough inside the team fight. So it's all pretty much situational for a staff LA. For an engineer, the only thing you can call out is maybe when you're going to stealth as well with the big old bomb and the smoke bomb from the bomb kit number 4. It's a pretty good tactic as well to gain some stealth, to maybe res up someone else as well. So basically, when it comes to communication, it's really important. First of all, you know each and every other class. You don't really need to play them, you just need to know them. You need to know the certain builds in the meta. So it might be useful if you check around this channel or anyone's channel, in my opinion, what meta builds there are at this very moment. So it's very important that you communicate, that you tell the class and the build of your enemies as well, as I told you before. Also their situational placement, where they are at this very moment on the minimap. Keep updating the enemy numbers as well. There is a small tip that I'm going to give you guys as well. Top teams already do those things. If you just downed an enemy in the team fight, let's say, it doesn't matter if it's mid or far, you just downed, you just finished off, you just stomped an enemy. You need to know that the basic timer, the respawn timer, is 15 seconds. That means it will give the enemy a 15 seconds of penalty to have one man less in the team fights. So you really gotta abuse that system, that the enemy needs to wait 15 seconds until he can spawn again and help his team, and it will take another 10 seconds extra to actually get to the place he needs to be. So what you need to do is, if you're fighting in a team fight, first of all you need to watch on the right side of the screen. You see a column which gets updated by every downed or killed player with the red name and the blue name and the skill they use to kill or down an enemy. Well, there is one particular sentence in one of those columns that will come up, which is, let's say, the enemy you stomped, with a special symbol that lets you know he respawned. So you don't really need to call out those 15 seconds. You just see it on the right side of the screen. You just see the enemy respawned with a respawn symbol next to it. So that's when you know he's at spawn again, and you got 10 seconds time more to do whatever you need to do. So that's something you need to abuse as well. The second thing you need to know, if you stomped an enemy, let's say you stomped the enemy thief on mid or far, it doesn't matter, and let's say you only got people on mid and far, you're focusing on keeping them away from the points, then you need to know in about 15 seconds the enemy thief will respawn and go to your close. That's something you need to know automatically. So if you're either the staff LA or the warrior or the thief, within the 15 seconds you stomped the enemy thief, you will be checking up on close. You will stand there at close, wait for 10 to 20 seconds and wait till you're sure no one is coming to close. If the thief respawned again, that means that it's again 5 versus 5 on the map. That means your team should be able to count all enemies again. If your team is not able to count all 5 enemies, that means one is hidden, one is in stealth, or it doesn't matter, you need someone on close. You need someone always be able to check close immediately if you only count 4 enemies. If you all count 4 enemies, that means one is in stealth or either still at the spawn. But I wouldn't take the risk and just send someone to close, probably the thief itself, your thief, going to close just to check up and stay there for 10 to 15 seconds and be sure no one is there. Wait till someone else spotted the 5th player. So that's basically it when it comes to communication, guys. I really hope I give you some helpful tips. It's also only obvious that you let your team know when you're going to kill the Lord, or when you're going to DPS the gate town, or when you're going for the chieftain or Svanir. That's just pretty obvious that you also communicate about that. Don't be afraid while you're in the match to actually propose something, like some sort of strategy. Don't be afraid to do that. Like, it's because of this, it's because of proposing strategies that your team gets better. Because if it went wrong, then you know the strategy doesn't work against that enemy composition with our composition. If it does work, then you know, next time we will do the same thing over and over again. So basically that's how you learn how to get in the top team arena leaderboard. So if you want to communicate, if you want to learn the essential things about communication, well, this video I think it was pretty helpful for you guys. If you got anything else to add, let's see if I forgot something. So when it comes to playing a necro, if you're a necro, the thing you need to call out is either, if you're power necro, you need to call out when you go in lich form, when you're going to place the wells. If you're a condition necro, it's very important when you call out your fears, and when you're going to use your signet of what is it again? Signet of corruption, I think. No, I don't know, but they call it Signet of Win, the one that places all those conditions on your target. So you really need to call it out, because that's the moment when your enemy target is quite weak at the moment, because of the cripple, because of the weakness, the poison, the blindness. So Necro also needs to communicate a lot. If you're a Spirit Ranger, then you need to communicate when you're gonna summon your beasts, your spirits, and when you're gonna use your elite to rest someone up. So that's basically it when it comes to communication between classes. If you got any more questions, just post them here on the video and I will be more than glad to just answer them correctly and honestly, in my opinion. The second thing I want to tell you guys is please consider sending gold donation to my in-game mail account, which is terrasquad.2349. You see the name in the left bottom corner of the photo, or you can see it as well here, Terror Squad. It's because I'm working on another legendary, which is the Dreamer, for my thief right here. Well, I got two thieves actually, but yeah, for my thief, which is the legendary short bow. So I would really appreciate it if you can help me and just send me some in-game donations through the in-game mail system. Also, please mention your name, because in the next video, at the start of the next video, I will announce your name and your amount of donation in the next video. So guys, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped just a little bit. As I said before, if you got any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Okay guys, see ya.